What is up with it? Today we are going to be watching my third loss in the Treasure Cup. This is the final round, round 10. Always sucks to lose in the final round, but it is what it is. We've already seen my two previous losses on the channel. It was Anel and Shanks. Both of those games maybe were winnable. It's hard to say. Um, I don't know. Maybe you guys in the comments have explained to me how they were winnable yet. I left reviewing both of those as thinking they probably weren't winnable. But maybe they were. Like it's like really close. Um, this one, however, was just a steamrolling. I think this one was not winnable. I lose the rock paper scissors. Both me and my opponent um, mulligan. Um, I find a Sengoku here, and I believe I already have a Teach, so I'm looking for a Weevil here, and I find one, thankfully. Uh, Teach into Weevil on 3 is a pretty strong turn. My opponent starts with a Sengoku. I'm pretty okay with that. He grabs a Weevil. I have no problem with that. He plays the second Sengoku, and I'm like, okay, I mean, this is going to be tough. Double Sengoku is always super strong. Your opponent just basically gets to see their whole deck on turn one, it feels like, right? They get to see 16 cards deep on their very first turn, which when you see that many cards on your first turn, you're probably finding anything you want to find. Um, Gonna swing 7, do the Teach, do the Weevil. Very standard stuff. My opponent, of course, gonna take. He just flashed me a Jozu. I appreciate that donation. He's going to go ahead and play Teach. Um, Flashing me a Law. I appreciate the donation. I think we maybe just saw a 2K Law in there. I could be mistaken about that one. That one I'm not quite as sure about. He's going to go ahead and swing 8, and I am mostly expecting the Weevil here, but then I'm sick to find that he actually goes Jinbei Law here, which is, definitely not what I want to see. And I have no 2Ks in hand, so I can't even protect my Weevil. Once that happens, I'm like, man, this is going to be a really, really hard game. But it's okay. We can always bounce back. This is going to be a long game. It's not going to end here on the third turn of the game. It's going to be an uphill battle from here. My opponent does have a really strong start. But I didn't have a horrible start. Like this is still very doable. We're going to go ahead and swing 8. Just going to leave one active. I did this just in case I drew like a Sengoku or a Perona or something that I'd want to play. I don't think he's ever countering out of that 8. And if he does, that's fine. I'm not too upset about him using two 2Ks so early. And then I think this is the turn where I get physically ill, because this is when I start to realize like my opponent is actually just gonna have it. He swings 5 at life. I take. I don't want to counter there, and then for him to swing 8 into my Weevil because I have no 2Ks. So I just kind of accept that I'm going to be losing 2 life this turn. I don't want to lose the tempo of losing my Weevil, and he goes Jinbei Law again, which is a little tough, admittedly. And he's just thinking about what to bounce on my side. He bounced his own Rested Law, very reasonable. Not even entirely sure why I think what he's considering is if he even wants to play his own Law a second time. And I think he decides that he wants to deny my Jozu. So he does end up playing Law twice. I think that's honestly maybe not even correct. Like he has a Jozu to answer my Jozu. So I really feel like maybe it would have been better for him to have actually just Swan 6, Jinbei Law, bounce his own Law, and then swing 7, play Weevil, and just establish that third body as a threat. I don't think. Um, I mean, this is fine. Honestly, this is absolutely fine. Like, it's not bad. Um, but, like, I think if. I don't think. Like, I'm sure he's trying to deny my Jozu here by bouncing my teach, and that is reasonable. But if he has, if he's 5 wide with a Sengoku, a Teach, a Jinbei, a Law, and a Weevil, it's hard to imagine that I would Jozu and bounce his Teach. And if I don't Jozu bounce his Teach, then I'm probably Jozu bouncing like the Weevil. Um, in which case he would just respond with his own Jozu on 8. Um, I don't know. Something to consider. Also, I just think getting the Weevils out of your hand just to create more pressure, draw those cards, I think that's very good. I know I have infinite cards in my hand at this point. I have like 9, 10 cards, something crazy like that. Considering all I've done is play the same Teach Weevil the entire game, and I haven't countered at all. I just have infinite cards in hand. But so then this turn, I think he still elects to play the Jozu, if I'm remembering correctly, which, like, we're playing over our own Sengoku, which I don't love. I mean, thankfully we have a second one, and spoiler alert, he actually has a third one. I don't know if he has it in his hand already, but he will have it soon, if he doesn't right now. So losing this Sengoku isn't the biggest deal in the world, but I will say that, like, those resources that Sengoku is actually so strong in the mirror, especially when you're already have the bounce loop going. That's just a free +1 every turn. So I'm not a huge fan of playing over it, but we have a second one, so it's not the biggest deal in the world. And I believe at this point, I know he has like Weevil, Boa, Croc, like through these Sengokus. Like I haven't been paying enough attention to what he's been grabbing so far this game. There's an argument to be made that he's supposed to teach effect before he does these swings, to play around a gravity blade trigger, but I'm probably never taking these anyways, so it probably doesn't matter. I assume he's just gonna Law bounce, swing 7, and then he'll go ahead and swing 7 in life, and then he'll replay the Sengoku. Also really interesting that he wanted so badly to deny my Jozu on 7, but he is just completely disrespectful of the gravity blade here on 9. Like he's in a really commanding position here. I feel like his only lost condition at this point is me hitting some gravity blades here, especially when he has this Jozu that's already stuck. So I think like this is a situation where in for a penny, in for a pound. If we were willing to remove the teach last turn, I think we had to remove it this turn. And he does get hit by the gravity blade. I wish I could bottom deck this teach, but I think, being at 2 life, I have to just be committed to trying to not die. So I think I do have to bottom deck the Law. He does already have a Jinbei engrave, so we're fine with swinging over that. It's just going to be an 8 here at the Jinbei, and I'm sure I'm just going to play the same Weevil for the 15th time. Our opponent, has found a few Jinbeis, a few Laws, mini Sengokus. We unfortunately have not found any Jinbeis or Laws yet, but we're fighting. We know we're in a bad spot here, but it's not over yet. I think I have like 10 cards in hand. I've just been put in a position, I think, where I can't be allowed to play around the pudding. I mean, let me know in the comments if you guys disagree. I generally like playing around the pudding, but my opponent has just been putting me in a really tough spot. So he goes Jinbei, Weevil, and then he goes, oh, nice draw. So you know what that draw was. It was in fact the Pink Menace herself. And as soon as he did this, I was like, all right, this is a wrap. He just hand ripped me for like 4 or 5 cards. He already was ahead. This is, this is going to be really, 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 really hard. Like I think this game is completely over at this point. I think there was still a chance before he let this pudding rip, but once we get to here, also third Jinbei, by the way. Um, like I genuinely believe that this one um, was probably not winnable. To be honest, I don't really know what I could have done differently. I see a bunch of things that my opponent could have done differently. Um, which I don't want to come off as like salty or anything. I'm not salty. Like these things happen. We play a card game. Sometimes your opponent just draws better than you. I have drawn better than my opponents probably more often than not, right? Like that's the only explanation for my wins is I drew better than my opponents. Um, so I don't want to come off as salty or like I'm just trying to critique him the same way I would myself if I was making those plays. Um, Um, he seemed like a good dude for sure. Absolutely no hate towards him. And he wins the game, right? So, um, well deserved win, nonetheless. Um, even if even if I disagree with some of the ways he sequenced his cards and some of the plays he did, um, there's so many different approaches to the Dofi mirror that I could just be wrong. You know, it's very he was the one who won this game, so feel free to take um, my my thought process with a huge grain of salt because he beat me. So fair and square, fair and square. So here I have the Jozu. It's not great to be honest. Jozu when you're at one life and your opponent has 5 active characters is not exactly what you want to be playing, but I was mulliganed into the hand I was mulliganed into. I don't think I had really particularly great options here. I think I actually have like not the worst hand ever. It's like it's bad because it has like 4 or 5 less cards in it than it should, but it's not like disastrous unplayable. It's just like you know kind of almost regardless of what the cards were, it probably wasn't getting me out of this situation. Like, I got Jozu, Jinbei, Weevil. That's like not awful for sure, but it's also not saving me probably, right? Like I'm only at one life. I've got I think 6 cards in hand, maybe 7. Um, somewhere between 5 and 7, I think. Um, I'm not even keeping track of my opponent's hand like I normally do because I know I'm just getting so cooked. He's gonna swing 5. This turn, I also think was super weird by him. I'm gonna go ahead and give him a 1K. You never love pitching a Sengoku, but gotta do what you gotta do. Um, and I'm just thinking to myself now that I have to live and I have to be able to kill him next turn because there's no way I ever live next turn. Um, and maybe he's thinking the same. Um, Maybe he's thinking all he has to do is survive next turn because I never survive next turn. I'm not exactly sure what his thought process is here. He's going to go ahead and attach it on to leader. He'll go ahead and swing 4. I don't really fully understand what he's going for here, to be honest with you. I don't know why we're playing the double boa here. I think it was probably pretty unnecessary. Takes a while to think about it. I don't know the contents of his hand, so I don't know exactly what the correct play. I also don't really understand why we're swinging 8 here. I guess maybe because we want to be able to act like we will be swinging big. He picks up his own pudding instead of his own law. I think that's fine if he has another one. Hard to say if he does or not. I'll just give him 2 2s here. Honestly, maybe I was supposed to take this. Very, very likely I was supposed to take this in hindsight, assuming I have any more counter in my hand, which isn't a big ask. Probably was supposed to take that, honestly, and then just... well, he hasn't teach effect yet, actually. So, like, if we take that, yeah, and I don't have any more 2Ks in hand, so I think if I took that, I think I'm, like, pretty bricked up. Besides those 2Ks, I think if I take that and then he decides to YOLO go 11, I think I die. I could be misremembering, but I think that might be the case. Or maybe I just misplayed and I was supposed to take and I could have countered out anyways. Not sure. I think I do have the law. Yep. So I'll bounce the boa. Still not super in love with my opponent's last turn, to be honest with you. I'm not exactly sure what he was supposed to do, but felt kind of clunky to me personally. But maybe it was the best thing he could do. I don't know. I mean, we do know because he flashed it earlier that he has a Jozu in his hand, so honestly, maybe that could have just been a better play for him. Not sure. Okay, we're thinking here. Yep, I'm just trying to decide the numbers on how we're gonna do the swing. Ask to see his trash because I know he has a crocodile, a boa, and at least one weevil in hand, maybe two. So I go 7, and he does not counter with the crocodile. He counters with a Mihawk that was unknown, and a Sengoku which might have been known. I think maybe it wasn't though. I think he ended up playing over his 2 Sengokus. I'm not sure. And then there's the crocodile, and then at this point I know it's pretty much Jover. Yep. Like I still gotta try, right? But it's Jover. Bounce my law, bounce his law. And my opponent knows I have a Weevil in hand and a Law in hand. He goes 7. I'm not sure how many cards are in my hand. I feel like 7 is not the correct first swing, though. I have what? I have 5 in hand, so I had 4 in hand. He knows brick, and he knows a brick, and he knows a 1K. So, yeah, 7 was 100% not the correct swing, I think, right? So if I have brick 1K, and then let's say I have 2 2Ks, yeah, he could have thrown right there. Easily. He goes 7. I have brick 1K, 2 unknowns. He swings 7, I take. If the last card is a... So let's say he swings 7, and I have 2K, 2K, 1K, brick. And I go 2K, 1K, and now he swings 7 with... if he swings 7 with teach, now we're looking at... that takes 4 Dawn. He used 2 Dawn, so he has 4 Dawn left, so he can go 9 for the last swing. So I went 2K, 1K. I have a 2K in hand. So that actually would kill. So I would be forced to take. Is that right? So 7, and then 7, that's 6 Dawn, and then he could go 9. So 2 brick, 1K, 2K, 2K. I give 2K, 1K. and then the 7 I'm forced to. So he goes 7. Oh no. I was thinking about it wrong. He 7 was fine. 7 was a perfectly reasonable first swing. Cuz he doesn't go 7-11, he goes 7-13. And there's no way for me to counter out of the 13. Completely disregard everything I just said. The 7 swing was completely reasonable given the context of me having brick 1k. Yeah, it was fine. Completely disregard what I said. But good game to my opponent. He beat me fair and square. If you guys see anything different that I should have done, let me know. Maybe I was supposed to. The only thing that I see that I could have maybe done differently is take that one swing and then maybe he goes for it. But I don't even know if I had the counter to take it and then counter out of the last hit if he went for it. And I also think like by the time we got there, I kind of feel like I was kind of doomer and gave up, to be honest. But that's a bad mindset. Other than that, I don't really feel like there's much I could have done differently. So I don't know. There's not a whole lot I wish I did differently, but I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Maybe I'm dumb and I don't get it. I appreciate you all so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day.